Welcome to another election analysis. Today, I will be looking at the New Hampshire Gubernatorial Election from November 3rd, 2020. Let's get started with my takeaways. So, first off, New Hampshire voters sent a very mixed message to their elected officials. On the national level, they said, we want to send Joe Biden, Senator Jeanne Shaheen, and two Democratic House incumbents to Washington, but elect a Republican governor, a Republican executive council, and a Republican state legislature. And don't worry, if you don't know what an executive council is, I'll talk about that later in the video. New Hampshire is one of just two states that elect their governors every 2 years. There is a gubernatorial election in 2018 and 2020, and the next one will be in 2022. So it's tough being governor of New Hampshire because you got to run every 2 years, just like you're in the House. Popular Governor Chris Sununu was first elected at 42 years old, and this time he was running for re-election seeking a third consecutive term. Governor Sununu ended up winning big. Sununu won 65% of the vote. And let me remind you that New Hampshire is a swing state. He won every single county, and he won every single municipality except for 13. In this big win, Sununu becomes the first elected official to ever win more than 500,000 votes in New Hampshire history. So this was a very big election. Sununu's response to COVID-19 was highly regarded by both Democrats and Republicans in New Hampshire. Democrat Dan Feltes had name ID issues. As you can see from this poll right here, 29% of voters had no opinion on him, 34% of voters in this poll had no opinion of him, and 34% of voters in this one. When you're running against a very popular governor, you got to have name ID. You got to make sure that the voters know who you are. And that is something that Dan Feltes struggled with. Sununu was consistently approved by nearly half of Democrats, 4/5 of independents, and almost all of the Republican Party. In particular, voters overwhelmingly approved Governor Sununu's handling of the pandemic, including 2/3 of Democrats. Sununu's strong standing with independents really mattered since there are way more unaffiliated voters in New Hampshire than Democrats and Republicans. They make up 39% of New Hampshire's population and are known to split the ticket when they feel like it. So as you can see, these undeclared voters are 39%, Democrats are 31%, and Republicans are 27%. Democrats' efforts to link Trump to Sununu just didn't work. Sununu is a completely different brand of Republican, and the voters knew that. It made the New Hampshire Democrats look desperate, wasting time stretching the truth instead of actually attacking Sununu's policy positions or vetoes. It is truly significant that Senator Shaheen won 57% of the vote. She's a Democrat, so that's the blue map on the right. And then Sununu won 65% in the same election. A lot of ticket splitting occurred. Republican Sununu and Democrat Shaheen both won every single county in New Hampshire. So bipartisan coalitions are key to winning elections here. Approximately 22% of the voters picked both Shaheen and Sununu. Sununu did way better than Trump in every single county. He beat Trump by an average of 18.9%. At the end of the day, Sununu's dominance in the two big counties, Hillsborough and Rockingham, really propelled him to victory. New Hampshire also had executive council elections in 2020. So you may be wondering, what is the executive council? This is basically a group of 5 elected officials who are a check on the governor, and they are a part of the executive branch. They just make sure that the governor doesn't overstep his boundaries. Republican Joseph Kinney flipped Executive Council District 1, and Republican Dave Wheeler flipped District 5. As far as the other 3 seats go, Democrats defended their District 2 seat, and Republicans defended their seats in Districts 3 and 4. At the end of the day, New Hampshire Republicans may have struggled in 2020's federal elections, but Sununu led Republicans to big victories in many of the state-level elections in New Hampshire. So let's look at the regional analysis. So when you break down New Hampshire into regions, you got Hillsborough County, Rockingham County, and then the rest of the state. And as you can see, those 2 counties alone, Hillsborough and Rockingham, make up over 50% of the state population. And Republican Chris Sununu did very well in both of those counties, and he did very well in the rest of New Hampshire as well. The national urban-rural divides don't really apply in New Hampshire, This is a very rural state anyway, so even Hillsborough and Rockingham County are home to a lot of towns. Um, and in fact, this may shock you, but the Democrats did better in the 8 rural counties of New Hampshire than they did in the 2 biggest counties. That would never happen in most other states. Maybe the only other states where something like that would happen would be maybe Alaska or Vermont. So this is definitely unusual. And New Hampshire, that's what makes New Hampshire politics so special. And that's why they're one of the first primaries every election season. It's because of the unique makeup of the state when you look at partisan politics. And as you can see, Kristen Sununu gained ground in every single region of the state. Let's look at the regional analysis. So as you can see, I broke down New Hampshire into regions. And then I took the data and made some nice charts. So we just looked at the regional analysis. Now we're going to look at the charts and graphs that I made from the raw data. So first, look at the big win for Kristen Sununu, winning nearly 2/3 of the vote, winning every single county. And you look at the 2 biggest counties in the state. He won Rockingham County with 68% of the vote, and he won Hillsborough County with 66% of the vote. I mean, it was just a dominant win for Kristen Sununu. Every county voted at least 55% Republican, even the traditional blue counties. Let's take a look at the Democratic Party of New Hampshire and Dan Felty's performance. As you can see, Hillsborough and Rockingham counties really matter. And Felty struggled to break 30% in both of those counties. And he lost ground in every single county, losing as much as 15% in Cheshire, Coos, and Grafton counties. Looking at the Republican county of New Hampshire, the Republicans were way more dependent on Hillsborough, but less dependent on Merrimack County than the Democrats. As you can see, they gained a lot of ground. They gained 15% in Coos County alone. And the most typical value was between 67 and 71% of the vote. The Libertarian Party of New Hampshire nominated Darrell Perry. He ran for president in 2016. He unfortunately did not make it through the primary, but had an interesting campaign. He was way more dependent on Hillsborough County than the Democrats and Republicans. But that's all that's really significant about his campaign. And then finally, go to the Election Lab website and see the data and presentations for yourself. So looking at New Hampshire, this is what you'll see when you go to the Election Land website. So yeah, check it out. And you can look at the data at your own pace. Thank you everybody for watching. New videos will be coming soon. Have a great rest of the day.